Hey guys, Jam here, and welcome back to another video. And as you've probably seen by the title and thumbnail and all that stuff, today I'm going to be doing an Inquisitor. Now, straight off the bat, this is probably not going to be the most crazy, advanced or interesting Kitbash ever. It's going to be pretty simple. It's just something I wanted to do for fun. And as you can see on the table right now, I'm going to be using the Rogue Trader dude from Blackstone Fortress and a lot of Mechanicus bits for most of this build. And kind of the reason why I'm doing this video is because a couple of weeks ago when I did my Necromunda ammo jack conversion, I'll link that up now, I had a very quick conversation with Adam Troke on Twitter, you know, the guy from Warhammer community, because he loves Orlocks just like I do. But he kind of gave me some ideas of future Kitbashes I can do. He was talking about something along the lines of maybe an Inquisitor kind of recruiting the best of these like Necromunda gangs and stuff like that for a mission. So this is actually my start of kind of like a little narrative Kitbash series where I'm going to make the Inquisitor and I'm going to do his kind of retinue and squads as well. I was actually thinking of doing this video in like a kind of voice-over narrated kind of way, but I think that's probably way above my head, and maybe in the future I'll try do something kind of interesting like that, maybe when all the models are all done or something like that. But yeah, definitely stay tuned for any future Necromunda Kitbashes that I have coming out. And there might be a little teaser at the end of this video as well. But yeah, onto the actual Kitbash. The first thing I had to do was cut his hand holding like the cigar or cigarette, whatever it is. I mean, to be honest, this model is pretty perfect the way it is if you want to make an Inquisitor, but I wanted to make him a little bit more interesting, I guess. So yeah, cut the cigarette hand off just so we can replace it with another weapon later. And I'm going to keep the sword because it's pretty ornate and Inquisitor looking already anyway. Obviously, I'm going to keep that cigarette hand for a future Kitbash. Next step is choosing a pistol that I want to replace it with. And I've got these two options from, like I said before, the Mechanicus dudes. I think it's the Scutari or whatever they are. And it's got to do the same thing as the other one. You just pick which one you want, cut it off at the wrist, and glue it on. Now I chose the kind of plasma gun looking one. I think the other one might have been a little bit better. But later I'm going to be adding a rifle onto this guy as well. And I thought this one was a little bit more different looking compared to the rifle. And also, it might be a bit too chunky and like too close to his face, but hopefully once it's all painted up, it'll look decent enough. And yeah, if you're busy cutting something, maybe make sure you're not like pushing into your mat too hard because yeah, you're going to snap your blade. So as you can see here, just a quick little pistol swap from the cigarette. He looks slightly more menacing and it means business. Now I want this guy to be absolutely strapped with guns. So he's already got the pistol holster on his back. He's got the kind of plasma Mechanicus pistol in his hand. He's got a sword. But I wanted him to have like an old school looking hunting rifle kind of vibe. And obviously once again from the Mechanicus kit, it was perfect. I feel like this whole guy has got kind of that old English gentleman hunter vibe. So obviously that's the weapon I'm going to be gluing on the back there. And later we'll do some green stuff to make sure it looks like it's getting held on. But kind of my lore I've been working through in my head right now is this guy's name is Rayland Yee. Or in the Inquisitor world, he's known as the Huntsman or something like that. And he mainly goes on missions where there's some big bad kind of guy or a monster or an alien or something like that. Something he deems worthy of his time, and he'll hunt them down, kill them, maybe keep some trophies, something like that. Basically, just like I said, a hunter dude. Hence why I chose this model as well, because he's got the pelt on his shoulders, which makes sense. We got the nice old school rifle going on. And as this Kitbash series goes on, I'll develop lore for each ganger and why the Inquisitor is there and why he's recruiting these people. But yeah, so next step is to mix up your green stuff. Nothing too fancy there, you can go 50-50, or if you want to do the beard work like I'm going to do now first before doing the rifle, you could do a little bit less blue so it's softer, but for the small amount I'm just keeping it 50-50 really. But yeah, let's get cracking with a nice simple beard to make this guy look a bit more huntsman-y, I guess. Maybe he's been out on the hunt and in the wilderness, or well, whatever you would call wilderness in 40k, I guess. He's so obsessed with tracking down his prey that the man doesn't really bother too much about being clean shaven. But he also keeps it nice and neat as well because, like I said, he's an Inquisitor, he's not an animal. Now, because I want this to be kind of like a long goatee, I'm going to make this green stuff almost into like a long sausage kind of shape, but just tapering a little bit more into a point, like almost like a teardrop kind of style. I'm going to cut the thinnest point off, and that's the part we're going to like stick onto his chin and work it in. And once I've got it on the chin, all I'm going to do is move it into the rough kind of shape and place that I want it before working in the detail. So I'm just going to use my hobby knife or my toothpick. Remember to keep your tools wet. And like I said, I'm going to give this guy a goatee because he's already got a moustache going on. Real fancy one at that. So I'm just going to be working it up there, getting it into the length and all that kind of stuff. And when it comes to doing the actual detail and stuff like that, then I'll probably use mostly my hobby knife. Just remember with beards and that, less is more as usual with like sculpting and stuff like this. Don't try and make lines for every single strand because it'll be impossible to paint and it won't look good. You want a couple really deep lines where your washes and shades can go in and stuff like that. And just build it into a shape that you know like beards generally look like. To be honest, this is something I'm still kind of learning on every single model I do as well. And here's a nice little pro tip for you guys. If you get your green stuff at a point where it looks decent or good, just leave it alone. Because if you keep working with it, you're just going to end up ruining what you did before and having to like rework and rework. And it just takes ages. I mean, I did that with this beard. I kept trying to get it better. And yeah, I just got it to a point where it looked decent, good enough. Leave it there. You'll improve on your next sculpt and your sculpt after that. So don't try and make the first one perfection. There he is in all his regal glory so far. But yeah, like I said before, we need to get something on that gun so it doesn't look like it's just floating or glued to his jacket. So when I get my green stuff, I'm going to roll it out into a pretty long kind of rope looking thing. Just do it gently. You don't want to have some parts too thin and other parts thicker and stuff like that. Once again, another thing I'm not 100% good at yet. And also apologies if there's any shaky cam at this point because the kind of setup I'm using right now, I keep rocking the table, it rocks the camera and all that stuff. So I've got to sort that out at some point. So first up, we're going to have to cut a bit of a shorter piece off. That's going to kind of cross over the gun and go under his like jackety thing and kind of looks like it's tying underneath the pelt or something like that. Once again, just using a kind of damp toothpick to kind of move it in the way I want it. Just be careful at these stages not to put too much pressure because then you're going to end up flattening it out or giving it some weird texture and stuff like that. And then once you've got the bottom done, you want to do pretty much the same thing for it to be kind of strapping over the top of the pelt, going over and then kind of looking like it's tucked underneath there or something. Just give it the illusion that it's tied in there somewhere. I mean, this is probably not the most like optimal way to hold a rifle because I don't imagine you'll be able to get it off your back very quickly, but it'll work and it looks good enough. And then I add one more small little kind of thing to make an X kind of shape around the gun because I felt like it needed to look like something more was holding it, so it looks a bit more sturdy and in place. And then one of the final things I do to give the rope a little bit of texture, what I do is I use my hobby knife and I press kind of like lines into it at an angle all across all the rope. And then what I do is I just go back over again, but I go the opposite way. So basically making like small little X's and stuff on there. And it kind of gives that rope some like texture and it looks like it's been woven and stuff like that. I think it's a really nice, simple technique. I did it really quick as you can see. And it just gives your green stuff a little bit of extra detail. So when you're painting, it's just something nicer to paint and work off of, I guess. And there we have it, ladies and gents, in all his inquisitorial glory. Like I said at the beginning of the video, there's not going to be like a long, detailed video. It's just a little bit of fun. It's more about a narrative kind of longer story I'm going to be telling. So Inquisitor Rayland is arrived at Necromunda. The mission we do not exactly know yet, but we do know he's out to recruit some pretty badass gangers to help him out. So it's obviously going to be a really fun ride. Now, if you are wondering why I haven't based this guy on like the kind of textured Necromunda bases, it's because I thought maybe I could use him in different armies in 40k like my Sisters of Battle or something like that as well. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of shorter, just kind of fun, rambly video. And as always, you guys know the drill. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And if you really enjoyed the video and you want to help support the channel so I can keep making these videos and stuff like that and help keeps my bits box full, then I do have a Patreon and a merch store and all that kind of stuff, and I might start a YouTube membership at some point as well. But until the next video guys, I'll leave you with this teaser. Bye bye.